Hello, all my health friends. I wanted to do a video today about ingredients, and also I don't know if you saw the news conference yesterday with RFK stating that they are going to be banning all food dyes. It started out with just the red dye, I believe, and now all of them are going to be banned. And most of these dyes are in like children's cereals like Fruit Loops, Lucky Charms. They're also in Skittles and M&Ms and many food ingredients out there that aren't really food ingredients at all, but they're just promoted as treats for kids or even adults too. And we're going to be looking at Fruit Loops, and this is a great start. But even when you remove the dyes, the other ingredients are still very toxic and poisonous, and so we want to go through those ingredients and why you should avoid them. And RFK did say they're going to work on actually eventually removing all toxic ingredients. They can't completely ban sugar, that would be illegal, but he even said the best sugar is zero sugar, kind of like alcohol. The best alcohol for your health is zero alcohol because it's so poisonous. And we only really need about 1 teaspoon of sugar daily for brain function and whole body function, because we do need glucose, but in the right way. White sugar is a big difference from fruit sugar, right? Because fruit sugar is from nature and it also has fiber, so it's not going to spike your insulin the way white sugar would. Unless you eat fruit all day long and you don't eat protein, that can be a problem too, especially the fruit juices. So we're really starting to learn about ingredients, even though those of us in the holistic world have known about them a long time. It's now becoming more mainstream and out in the public, and we're learning how to protect ourselves. So let's take a look at the Fruit Loops here. Picture of the Fruit Loops yesterday when I was at Target. This is one of my favorite cereals when I was a kid. This is the giant size, and I had a lot of health issues when I was younger. I was sick all the time, in and out of the hospital with pneumonias, bronchitis, strep throat, very sickly as a kid. I had lots of inflammation. I had a lot of depression. My brain wouldn't work very well. I had a hard time functioning in school and thinking because Fruit Loops was only one thing of many I ate that was horrible that my parents gave to me, including Little Debbie cakes, ding dongs, sodas, Lucky Charms, Jimmy Dean sausage, sugar on my grapefruit. It was pretty horrific. But let's look at the ingredients in here now. Are shocking to me. The very first ingredient is corn flour blend, which is all genetically modified and very cheap, gross, nasty stuff. So even if they take the dyes out, it's still toxic because of that first ingredient. And the first ingredient is one where they're going to contain most of the ingredient. Okay, and it's also degerminated yellow corn flour. Then the next ingredient is sugar. There's lots of sugar in here, which is also horrible. Wheat flour, which is GMO, whole grain oat flour, modified food starch. Then we have vegetable oils, hydrogenated coconut oil. Normally coconut oil is good for you, but not when it's hydrogenated because it's processed. Soybean and cottonseed oil are very bad and high inflammation. Oat fiber, maltodextrin, which is worse for you than sugar. It's a starch that will spike your insulin through the roof. Salt, soluble corn fiber, natural flavor with a red dye 40, yellow dye 5, blue 1, yellow 6, and BHT for freshness. And then because it's so poisonous, they add in synthetic vitamins like vitamin C, which is from ascorbic acid, which is GMO corn, reduced iron, niacinamide, B6 in a synthetic form, B12, or B2, riboflavin, B1, thiamine, folic acid, which is also synthetic, D3 and B12. I wouldn't even want any of those vitamins and minerals because they're not in their natural form. So we wonder why kids' brains can't function and they have ADHD and all these learning and behavior disorders. Well, there you go. This is what kids are eating all the time, all day long. And if parents don't quite understand ingredients and they're feeding this to their children, they're probably eating a lot of it.
Dark shadow historically over this agency. And there's so many conflicts that we are now systematically eliminating. That has allowed them to suppress the science. There's shockingly few studies, even on food dyes, and on all these other all these other ingredients as well. And Jay Bhattacharya, who is here and who is running, the director of NIH, is now narrowly targeting these kind of food additives for scientific study, so that one by one we can start eliminating them where they can, things that we'll never be able to eliminate, like sugar. And sugar is poison, and Americans need to know that. It is poisoning us. It's giving us a diabetes crisis. When I was a kid, I always say this: a typical pediatrician would see one case of diabetes in his lifetime. Today, it's 1 out of every 3 kids who walks through his office door. In our most recent study from NIH, 38% of American teens, it's half our adult population.
That, even though change is on the way and all this will be outlawed by the end of 2026, that's still about a year and a half away. They're still going to be adding these until that time frame is up. But even if, like I said, they're taking out the dyes, well, until they remove the other ingredients too and make it clean, don't eat Fruit Loops just because the dyes are gone. And there's a few fast food places also that are switching from like canola and soybean oil and using beef tallow, which is great. But I still wouldn't eat there either because they're using conventional meat, GMO meat. There's a lot of soy protein in their meats. Half of it's not even real meat. And they're still using other toxic ingredients, or even like burger buns will be enriched flour or bleached flour. You want to avoid those like the plague, and you want to look out for yourself and research on ingredients. And if there's a long list, don't buy it, okay? So we're on the right track here, and RFK is starting the movement, even though it's been going on a while. It's just more public now because the industry wanted to hide it and they weren't going to make it public. So you'd have to go to a holistic practitioner or naturopath to figure that out, or be listening to Dr. Berg on YouTube, which you still should do. He has great information and he's a good one to follow. So protect yourselves. And let's keep the ball rolling and also protect our kids.